Shawnee came, and I could only hear her voice, and everybody was greeting her. I heard the other ladies get introduced to her and meet her, and then I heard one of my producers ask her to be introduced to me, and they said, hey, I'm going to take you to meet OG. And I think they all thought I was asleep because I was in between scenes, but I was very much awake. And her response was, no, thank you. Let's not and say we did.
What is up, Storm Chasers? Today I have a beautiful young lady with me who you guys know very well, okay? She is an athlete, fashion designer, TV personality from Basketball Wives. So let's welcome OG officially to our show.
Hello. Hi, everybody. I'm happy to be here. So it's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming. We've been, corresponding, about a year now?
Yeah, the first time actually that you were brought to my attention was I was getting tagged on this video, and I was like, what is this? And everyone's like, OG, you need to go check this out. This guy is rooting for you.
Let's not forget how hard she beat that cookie box until all of the skeletons and all that old semen fell on out of it. I thought I saw some dust. I might have saw some umbrellas. I think I saw Chad Johnson running up out of there. I think I saw everybody's man running up out of there, because if your man makes more than $1 million a year, he has probably swam in Evelyn Lozada's waters.
And I'm like, okay, let me go see who this man is. And then I checked you out, and I said, okay. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna give him his kudos for sure.
Okay, and I appreciate that, because I took a chance when I DM'd you. I'm like, this lady's not gonna respond back to me, and then you was like, I got you.
I got you. I'm not like, I don't know. I think the DM situation depends on how appropriate it is, and it depends on the dialogue. So if somebody says something in my DMs that I read and I like it, I'm going to do my best to respond. If I don't see it, obviously, like, it's out of my hands. But if I do see it and I get a chance to like really digest the dialogue, I'm going to respond. That's just how I am.
Yeah, you're very approachable. Like with a lot of celebrities, it's kind of like I don't know you know what I mean, but you're very down to earth. Okay, but before we get into the mess, let me ask you, how has COVID treated you and your family? Is everybody okay? Like, what are you doing to stay safe?
COVID has definitely adjusted. I think everybody can relate. Just the way of life. For me personally, my family, we are very like hands-on, always at each other's houses, always making sure we're good. So nothing has changed, particularly with how we interact with each other. I think we're just more cautious. I think we don't go out as much as we used to. And literally every single outing is essential to the best of our ability, because it's just not a time to take chances.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And even like with when you look back at pictures and old videos on your phone, you're like, wow, I was very close to your face when we were hanging out. Even just like blowing out the candles on a birthday cake, like we're not going to do that anymore, or being able just to hug people. Like it's really crazy how things have changed. And so even in the entertainment industry, like how are you guys filming a reality show, but you can't really be near each other?
Well, I mean, it was a task. I'm not going to lie. It was very daunting. What they decided to do was put us in groups. So we split up the house into two. So instead of us normally, like when we go on vacations and stuff, we film in one house and there's different moving parts. They decided to divide the girls up and separate us. So I'm in house 2 with a couple of the ladies, and then there's house 1 with a couple of the other ladies. So they just tried to divide it up and do it that way.
Okay. You know what? And as you said, we're in different houses. I'm like, don't tell me now this is the bad girls club. I was going to say, because you'd win. Okay. So moving along from that, one thing I always noticed about your personality is that you're very confident. And I've met a lot of people in my lifetime with Nigerian backgrounds. Okay. And one thing about y'all come in the room and you own it. Like, it's like, oh, okay, I was speaking, now I have to, you know what I mean? Like it's the energy that you guys are raised with. And so on the show, when you first came on, do you think the girls were most intimidated by the fact that you were self-assured and confident?
You can say that. I will definitely say that played a part. I think to the way our show is, a lot of people aren't familiar with the protocols and things that we do before we actually get in front of a camera and start giving the world our lives.
Yes.
We have what's called chemistry tests. A lot of shows do it just to test how the chemistry is amongst different ladies. So in anyone's inaugural season at any given time, production might opt to do that to see how people gel. So for me, I don't know how many of them Googled me. I don't know how many of them researched me. I know going into my chemistry test, I didn't know anybody that was coming in new with me, but for some reason, these other girls already had information on me. So that kind of derails an opportunity to get to know somebody without prejudgment. So
Yes.
Of course, you're going to look me up. You're going to see I play football, hard tackle football. I don't go easy. You see, I'm mouthy. I get in your face if you get in my face, and I hit hard. So I think everybody tried to come at me all crazy, which a lot of you guys didn't see. I'm going to be honest. A lot of stuff got left on the cutting room floor.
It was worse than what we saw? It was worse than what we saw?
I'm not going to say it was worse. I'm going to say that there was a lot of stuff that was cut out my first season. And I came in very humble. I came in very approachable. I was nice. I was actually really there to try to get to know everyone with no preconceived notion. However, I don't think that was reciprocated. I was at a mansion where we were shooting, and this was my first season. Cece and the other young lady, Kristen, were there, and they were in the living room, and I had my own room because I had been shooting all day. So I was resting in between scenes, and those girls were just getting started. And Shawnee came, and I could only hear her voice, and everybody was greeting her. I heard the other ladies get introduced to her and meet her. And then I heard one of my producers ask her to be introduced to me. And they said, hey, I'm going to take you to meet OG. And I think they all thought I was asleep because I was in between scenes, but I was very much awake. And her response was, no, thank you. Let's not and say we did. So that was telling. I had never met her before, but I definitely was thoroughly introduced to her voice and her not wanting to meet me. And that was totally fine. You know, I think that people need to give other people an opportunity to get to know them before they are introduced to them. So I tried to give her a chance even after knowing that. So is what I'm saying.
I agree. I agree with that. And I'm glad you said that, because I was just about to ask, like, with these reality shows, are you given a script, or is it more situational reality is what it sounds like to me?
There's no script. It's only soft scripted in terms of, you know, you have to go to scene. So that's a part of the outline. You know, you have to interact with certain people, and there's topics that might come up, but we don't know. Like, for example, I don't know what another group of girls films. So if I'm walking into the scene thinking that everything is kosher and I'm good, and then all of a sudden somebody comes at me with some tea or some information or just like a verbal attack, that changes the entire dynamic because I'm getting caught off guard. Now, mind you, again, some of these girls have had relationships longer than I've had with them. So I'm sure they have alliances. I'm sure they talk with each other off camera. My first season, my second season, and going into my third, I didn't decide to do stuff like that. I want it to be organic. So I'm not going to tell girls what I shoot with other girls. I'm going to give them the heads up in front of the camera so that every reaction is as natural as possible.
Yeah, you were okay. So that's basically, you're being real about it. You're like, I know a camera's here, but I'm going to interact with you the same as if we were on the street, because the way some ladies do reality is that it's a totally different personality. They say cut, and then it's like, "Ooh, girl, sorry I said that," but it's like, "But you said it." Like,
right.
So something I've always wondered on the show Basketball Wives, do you have to pretty much kiss Shawnee's ass to keep your spot? I've just always wondered this.
Listen, I don't know what anyone else is told or what anyone else does. All I can account for is myself. That's not my personality. Yeah. I'm not kissing anyone's ass. I give credit where credit is due. If I vibe with you, I vibe with you. And if you come at me, I'm going to give it right back to you. It's really simple. I don't think you should get brownie points, or I don't think you should suck up and think you're going to get a reward for that. I think if you just do your job and you do your job effectively, whether they recognize it or not, your reward's going to come regardless.
Yes. Yes, just come and just be yourself. Because I know some girls, they want to stay on so bad. So I get that. No,
Yeah, they want to hold their job, and that's the problem. The problem is nobody is willing to just be themselves. For
yeah,
me, I don't need to hold on to anything because I've always created my own opportunities. I've created my own jobs. I have my own things going on literally within this company. I'm doing my own stuff. So I don't have to say, oh my God, if I say something wrong or if somebody doesn't like how I address a certain situation and they want to fire me if they're that mental, that's on them. It's their loss. That's how I see it. But I can't say the same for some of the other girls. I strongly believe a lot of them want to wait and then want to explode and go on a freaking interview parade and try to tell their truth. Like, I'm going to talk about it while it's happening. So
yes.
if something happens, I'm going to address it right away.
And the big elephant in the room, which even caused ruckus on YouTube, was Evelyn's whole monkey comment in response to you. Now, me and you both, we've been black all our lives, okay? When has monkey ever been used as a good thing towards us?
It's not. It's not okay. It's not appropriate. I get it. People try to less demonize it and make it a joking matter. But the reality is, if you're not in a good place or you don't get along with someone, and that term or that picture in my case is used to describe you, it's a complete dig. It's a complete racial insult, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. So.
Yeah, I completely agree. And even with certain people now saying, well, I can, oh, well, let me ask you this. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. How do you feel about how do you feel about non-black people using the N-word? Let's start there. How do you feel about non-blacks using the N-word?
I mean, I think I've made my point. I personally do not use that word. I don't think that it is something that needs to be added to my vocabulary because there's so many other words to describe the definition of that word. If you want to call somebody ignorant or you want to make a racial slur, however you want to do it, there's a lot better words to use than one that is connected to some deep rooted, systematic, damaging things to the Black community. And for me, it's not something that I want to use. So I think a lot of people tend to use this word because they want to feel cool or they want to fit in or they want to culture appropriate. It's not cool. It's not funny. And anyone who uses it in my presence knows you get one warning. And I gave her a warning. If we're gonna be real, I gave her one warning.
Okay.
My first season when we were having dinner in Amsterdam. And yeah, I don't like to be a part of that.
I don't blame you. And another thing I noticed too, my mentor, even her husband, he's from Mali, and he can't even stand when black people use it. He does not like that word with the A or whatever. He does not like it. And so one thing that I found interesting about this situation is their excuse was, oh, well, I'm Afro-Latin. And it's like, can you just get to pick and choose when you're Afro? Because I'd never heard this person say that before. So why do you think it's so many people now that want to hop on the bandwagon of being Black when it wasn't a cool thing before?
I think people want to be a part of Black culture, but don't want Black problems, don't want Black issues, don't want to be truly considered and walk in the struggle of being a Black person. I'm sorry, like, it's easy to style your hair a certain way and talk a certain way. And this isn't, and I want to be very clear when I say this isn't how Black people act that people are trying to emulate. It is stereotypes. It is stereotypical versions of what they think being Black is, or being cool is, or being just hip to the culture. And that's what they're emulating, but they're always picking the wrong things to emulate. Why aren't you emulating the Black doctor? Why aren't you emulating the Black lawyer? Why aren't you emulating the Black judge, the Black president? Like, why the Black vice president? Why aren't you doing those characteristics? They choose like the worst stereotypes and then take it to 9,000. And for me, it's like, I think that the N-word has a lot of issues. The only time I think that most people kind of overlook it is during lyrics through rap music. And
Yes.
you're enduring lyrics through rap music. I personally don't even say it. I substitute it with Ninja. It's got the same syllables. It doesn't mess up the flow and the cadence, and we keep pushing. So
I get that. So, dear white people, if you're on the highway or
no, I'm not saying that's what they get to say. I'm just saying that's what I do.
I know. Skip over that word completely, y'all. But yeah, I know what you're saying, and even I will say this: with every other race and ethnicity, they don't call themselves any version of their own slur, and so I would love if at some point we can just let it go. I got to do better myself. I'm not, going to be fake, but it is something we need to let go. Okay, so so speaking of the N-word and putting that aside, and people being a fake Afro-Latina. On the show, I noticed that anytime you stood up for yourself, bucked up, I don't want to say aggressive because I feel like you just got like labeled with that unfairly. But do you think the reason why you got that aggression label, was it colorism, or do you think it was because they knew they couldn't beat you up?
Well, okay, so that's a two-part question, and I'm going to try to answer it to the best of my ability. Because I'm going to be honest with you, filming this season, I didn't beat a dead horse. I have explained it in every way possible, whether it's educated or layman's terms. I have done my due diligence to make sure that people understand my perspective of the basis of what colorism means and what I experienced. And I've expressed that. And the problem that I'm having is when I addressed it right away, to be honest, all I said was there's a colorism issue, very blanketed. So whoever took offense, whoever felt away, you have to ask yourself, okay, at that time, no names were mentioned. At that time, there was no back and forth yet on social media. It hadn't even aired yet. So in that moment, before the world even got to see it, people were telling me I'm wrong, dismissing my experience, dismissing what I was saying. And to me, that means right there, you don't even understand, or you're playing naive to the definition and the basis of what this means. Yes. I said, if there's a colorism issue, that's what it is. That's what I saw. It was actually there before I got there. I just happened to be somebody that pointed it out while it was happening to me. Now, other people who have said it's happened to them, I don't know if they pointed it out in the moment. I don't know if it got swept under the rug. All I know is what happened to me. I addressed it when it was happening to me multiple times before the world even saw that.
And you know what? And I know some people are gonna say, well, we've had other dark-skinned castmates to fight or this, that, and the third, but it was just but it was different with you. It was as soon as you stood up, oh my gosh, she's gonna kill us all. It's like she never said that. She's just not cowering to you, or she's not sucking up to you. So
that part, and you hit it on the nail. It's like, how can I explain it? I feel as though the audience only gets the allotted time and amount of what the network and whoever else has a say so gets to be aired. So how am I supposed to translate every single moment that happened, both on and off camera, within emails, within dialogue with different people? It's impossible. So I tried my best to thug it out. But there's only a certain amount of crap a person's going to take before they're like, listen, this is what you guys are doing. I'm giving you an opportunity to address it. I don't run from any kind of conversation, whether it's a pleasant one or an uncomfortable one.
You don't. I got to give you that. You don't.
I don't. And it's not in my nature. It's not in my nature because I strongly believe it's important to address things when people are ready to address it. What I don't like is when I bring it up and everybody has a platform and a moment to address it. And instead of addressing it, you call me all kinds of names. You say I'm lying. You dismiss it. And then once you get backlash, once people are saying, we've been saying this has been an ongoing issue, and now you're feeling uncomfortable. Now you want to talk about it. Well, it's been almost 2 years now. It's been almost 2 years. So I gave you plenty of time. My number's still the same. Instagram, you know the handle. You could have reached out to me. You could have did a public apology. I mean, other girls have gotten public apologies if you felt compelled to. So if you didn't do it, you didn't feel compelled to do it because you didn't see anything wrong with your behavior.
Absolutely. And this person's behavior had went unchecked for well, about a decade, because it never really came up off the show at some point. So really a decade. And for me, when I saw that she was suing you and said that you were the cause of her losing endorsements, I was like, well, is OG the cause or is your behavior the cause?
Exactly. If you're running around, and excuse my French, I mean the world saw it, patting your pussy in front of everybody, you think me addressing you for what I see you to be, which in my opinion is a racist. I'm entitled to my opinion. That's the problem. It's like everybody's got something to say. Everybody's got an opinion. The difference is our job is literally to get paid for opinion. She had many opinions about me behind my back. Okay. I didn't go and sue nobody. I have an opinion. The problem is I counter that with facts. And that's the difference. Your opinion is not fact. Your opinion is what you want to say. But when you support it with facts, then what can you say? And there's plenty of facts, and the world will see it eventually.
But what I want people to also understand is when a person is colorist and or racist, because those are two separate things, you can have babies by a certain race and still have a prejudice against that race.
Right. And that actually came up at the reunion. And I found it to be extremely interesting because it's kind of like when you have to think about the slave days. And I know nobody wants, especially Black people, we're tired. We don't want to have to remind ourselves of what we were born into because of other people's insecurities and other people's jealousy. The reality is, slave owners, they themselves had Black children. Did that make them not racist? Did that take away the fact that they were enslaving Africans and other Black people from different continents, just destroying and trying to do mass genocide? No, it didn't take away the fact that they were racist. So you can't say, oh, well, my daughter is dark, or my children are dark, or my son this. That's because you enjoy Black penis.
Yes.
That has nothing to do with the other gender. Do you like Black women? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But you do enjoy Black penis. That's because in order for you to procreate and make your little child that is part Black, and now you're in on the culture, you enjoy your Black penis. More power to you. I do too. However, there's two parts to that. You can't love Black men but hate Black women, or demonize Black women, or put down Black women, or label us aggressive or angry Black woman syndrome. You don't get to do that. You either like us as a whole, because guess what? That Black man came from a Black woman, or not at all. It's a package deal.
Yeah, and really, you need to pick a side. You need to pick
Exactly.
Because for so many of them, I feel like there's almost this thing of they'll have Black babies, but they have Black babies not really understanding Black culture in its entirety. And so I just wish that before some of them did procreate with Black men, they would take the time to learn about the culture just a little bit. I don't know. It's just my wish, but.
No, I agree. I think anybody who ventures into any type of interracial dating, it's important. I've dated all types of races. I have dated every ethnicity that I felt like dating. And the difference is I never tried to emulate the women of that culture. I appreciated their culture for what it was. I shared my culture, and we found a happy ground where we love different things from each culture. It's not something that you do to just kind of like get street credit or fit in, or it's just the guys that happen to talk to you because it's where your demographic was, where you grew up. No.
Yeah.
Actually embrace the culture and truly like appreciate people's good and bad qualities that come with being whatever ethnicity you are. Every culture has stereotypes. Okay?
Yes.
So you got to just move on and appreciate the positive.
And I always say, if I can't call you a Spanish person in charge, don't call me the N-word.
That part.
That part.
Nobody likes it. Nobody likes the slurs. Nobody likes the derogatory names. It's just Black people have been so forgiving. We have been so forgiving and giving this person a pass and giving that person a pass. Oh, he's cool because he's from this country, or he's cool because nah. We have to start as a whole, and it starts by individual people so that the whole gets it. to start nipping it at the bud.
Exactly. Don't even cross that line. So
Exactly.
so let me ask you this. If you can give us any insight, when you guys actually shoot the reunion shows, what is that experience like?
Okay, so I've had 2 reunions in the book. One was okay, the first one. It got edited significantly, but that's what I signed up for. The second one was horrific. So, I mean, I think
Oh,
that I can't call it. I don't know what a good reunion experience is supposed to be like, but then again, I don't know if the reunion is designed to be good for anybody else outside of the people who control how everything gets done. So,
true, because you have to make good TV. Are you
right.
there all day filming or?
It depends. Every company is different, but for the most part, you should block out the whole day because there's no telling. Everybody has their own package. Everybody has their own storyline, and different people have to address different topics if they are willing to.
I did want to ask you actually about your friendship with Tammy Roman. Tell us a little bit about that.
I mean, I love Tammy. What else is there to say? I love her. She's authentic. She's genuine. She's real. She's loving. She's considerate. She looks out. Like, she has all the qualities that any person, when they're looking for or just coming in contact with different people, looks for, to have a solid friend and a solid ally, I guess you could call it. Somebody that you can actually turn to and trust. I'm not somebody who just gives out my trust too easily. So
Yeah.
when Tammy and I first met, it was like she was cool, but I still didn't know her. And I'm pretty sure she probably felt the same way. And as time progressed, we genuinely took the time to actually get to know each other. And from that moment on, I knew she was a solid person. And so I'm going to always ride with somebody that comes off as solid, that shows me they're solid, and then the epitome of being a loyal person and just a good all-around woman. She is. So Tammy's my girl. She's always going to be my girl. We good in that category.
I love that because I always wonder, like, okay, with her, I'm like, wow, they really gave her a lot of crap over the years too, but she just seems really down to earth, which is why the audience connects with her. And so I know one thing I was interested in is what can we expect from OG this season?
Well, what you can expect from me is me being myself, me addressing everything that comes my way, the way that I saw fit. And I will tell you this, I never at any point in time refused to film with anyone. I was completely open. I was completely ready to listen. I was completely ready to tackle and try to find resolution any way, shape, or form if that was possible. However, I had to work within the constraints of finding out that 4 other people did not want to film with me, 2 of which eventually came around, 2 of which I never saw the entire time we started filming. So I want to put that out there because unfortunately, I don't control what you guys see once again. So I just want to be very transparent because I think it's important for the audience to know that I'm here doing my job. I see your face.
Yeah.
It's scary me, but I'm just trying to be really real right now. I'm doing my job. My job is to be myself. My job is to come to work, and that's what I did. Now,
Right.
Whatever happened within that, I can't control. I can't control other people, and I'm not a forceful person. So I'm not going to force somebody to address situations that it's in their best interest to address. But I did my part. So what you can expect from me is that I delivered and I did my part. I showed up. I walked through the gauntlet, and I'm here now. So.
And you know what? That got me feeling some kind of way because you're not you, but them. Your job is reality, and so how are you gonna say, "Oh, I'm not gonna film with her"? Well, what do you mean? Now, what you scared now? You wasn't scared before. That sounds like favoritism to me because you never actually physically touched them last season.
Right. I didn't touch anyone. It's not even just last season. I have never physically attacked anyone. I have never thrown anything.
Yeah.
I'm at a loss for words because I 2 parts. I can't control what other people do. And quite frankly, I don't care what other people do. If they choose to make a decision not to film with me, that is not detrimental to me. That is detrimental to themselves because I have nothing to run from. I have a lawsuit happening right now, and I still did not put any restrictions, none, because I'm going to control my tongue. I'm going to do my best to address things the way I see fit. And at any given point in time, when I feel like my back is against the wall, which it was, when I feel like people are not listening, that's fine. I'm still going to do what I have to do, and then I'm going to rest easy at night.
Yeah, that's all you can do. I was going to ask you, what is the status of your lawsuit?
It's still ongoing, so I can't really talk too much about it because it's still ongoing. We are entering different stages due to COVID and the level of lawsuit that was filed against me. It is not considered high on the protocol, high on standards. So the courts are closed, so everything had to be done during Zoom and different things like that. So it kind of got pushed on the back burner, which sucks because I'm sitting here with a pending lawsuit. And because of that lawsuit, I had to file a counter lawsuit to protect myself. And it's kind of like just this little cloud looming, but I know I'll be victorious in the end. So I'm just riding out the process.
I don't blame you. And I mean, you know, I just think that people shouldn't be allowed to press, to file frivolous lawsuits. I mean, it's just a waste of the court's time, in my opinion. So
it is. I agree. It's a waste of the court's time. It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of my attorney's time because there's people out there really committing real crimes and really doing bad things, and we're just wasting the judge's time. It's a mess. It's a mess.
It's a whole mess. Okay, let me ask you this. As far as, if you can talk about it, as far as you and Kwame, are we expecting anything big? So I just people want to know.
I mean, for that, I think that what I will say is this: Kwame and I are in an amazing space. We are onward forward with our relationship, and when it is time, I will share with you all of my life choices with him, and hopefully everyone will be excited.
Okay, I can't wait. I'm excited. And Ocho Cinco wanted me. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, it still does. That's the homie though.
What do you have going on that you wanted to promote here today?
I'm not a bragger. I like to just let things happen. So
Okay.
I will just tell you guys very lightly, I have a cookbook coming out. I started it actually before COVID, but unfortunately, because of the lockdown, I had to pause on a couple of things. So we're back in motion. So I have that cookbook coming out. It's going to be awesome. I think everyone is going to thoroughly enjoy the style of which my cookbook has been written by myself. Ooh. And then obviously I have my bauble buds. Those are going to be amazing. I think that novelty and that capsulation of that moment in time for anyone who was my fan during my football career or who became a fan afterwards is going to enjoy that. So I have that right now. I got a couple of other projects I'm working on, but I don't want to talk about them yet.
Okay, I got you. Go to her website, iheartog.com. Get her mask. Her mask look really, really dope. Yeah. So I really enjoyed you today. Was there any other little bit of tea you wanted to give us?
C.C.'s wedding was beautiful. What else?
How is C.C. doing?
She's doing well. I just talked to her a few days ago. She's doing well. I love C.C. C.C.'s got such a sweet, pure, like energy about her. I think that she was grossly misrepresented, but again, like we don't have any say so. Like if only I could put all of you, especially you, because I know you gonna soak up the information and deliver it appropriately. If only I could put you guys as a fly on the wall to see what a day in a life really looks like, then I think a lot of people would be able to relate. But even with what was displayed from myself and I think the world, the vast majority, I'll say, got it. The vast majority realized that you cannot pull the wool over our eyes, no matter how good the editing is, no matter how good the airbrush, you cannot hide the truth for too much longer. So I just want the truth to be out there. I just want everybody to do their best and enjoy me on TV while you see me on TV. And if you meet me in person, I hope it's a good experience and just onward forward and just people stay safe and wear a mask.
Yes, please do. Please. This stuff is no joke out here. My aunt she got out the hospital and now her heart is messed up from the COVID. So it's just like, it's no joke. So
it's very serious.
All right, OG. Well, thank you for coming and joining me.